that you can't make it. But again, let us celebrate that there are positive attitudes for creativity, because there is curiosity. When you are curious, you can positively go far. There is also challenge. Curious people like to identify and challenge assumptions or hide ideas, proposals, problems, beliefs, and statements. They like to challenge in order to think deeper. This, there is also constructive discontent. Constructive discontent is another positive attitude for creativity. Um, because this is not a winning or gripping kind of discontent, but the ability to see a need for improvement and to propose a method of making that very improvement. There is also another positive thing is a belief that most problems can be solved. Such a belief is very good for creativity. Number 5, the ability to suspend judgment and criticism. It is not a question of making quick decisions, quick judgments, quick fix solutions. That is not the way to survive or make it through. In any case, that may be the hindrance, the real problem to our progress when you want to make quick decisions and get away with it. There is also seeing the good in the bad. Yes, converting challenges into opportunity. That is great. The other one is problems lead to improvement. We have to see problems as leading to improvement. In other words, you may fail today, but tomorrow you will not fail. You may fail today, tomorrow you will not fail. Number 8, a problem can also be a solution. Such attitude is good for your creativity, that a problem can also be a solution. The last point is problems are interesting and emotionally acceptable. That is very, very good attitude for creative thinkers. The other one is miscellaneous good attitudes. Of course, we have already mentioned them, such as perseverance, flexible imagination. Your imagination should be flexible. There is also a belief that the mistakes are welcome, all that. And you can also see the characteristics of a creative person. A creative person has curiosity, seeks problems, enjoys challenge, is optimistic, able to suspend judgment, comfortable with imagination, sees problems as opportunities, sees problems as interesting, sees problems as emotionally acceptable, sees challenges and challenges as assumptions. A creative person doesn't give up easily. He perseveres and works very, very hard. Now, I don't want to get to problem solving, which we also considered, and we gave some good problem solving skills there. But I started by telling you there are 3 to 4 points. Recognize the problem. Of course, there are details there. Number 2, analyze and investigate. Number 3, brainstorm solution. Number 4, explore options. The last one, then make a decision. That is the way to go. That is the way to be creative thinker. Now, I have considered one African scholar who was very critical in creative thinking, very important person in creative thinking. I've mentioned them. This Professor Kwasi Wirendu of Ghana, who talks about the importance of philosophy. The beauty in this guy, he comes in both creative and critical, because he reminds us philosophy has a function. You keep saying philosophy is nothing but splitting hairs, just debating things, splitting hairs. You are just busy making your hair. It's a luxury, especially in the third world. We don't need it. It is too theoretical. We need to think of chemistry, agriculture. Now, Wirendu comes and tells us and argues that The right orientation for pursuing philosophy in Africa is of the most practical importance. For an action by any individual or group of individuals means to be guided by ideas, and philosophy attempts to elucidate the most fundamental of such ideas. Like Bertrand Russell, he has Kwasi Wirendu has pointed out in his book Problems of Philosophy that the criticism that philosophy is not practical arises from the wrong conception of the kind of goods which philosophy strives to achieve. What we wrongly call practical man or practical woman, as Bertrand Russell observes, is one who recognizes only material needs, who realizes that humanity must have food for the body, but is oblivious of the necessity of providing food for the mind. So Kwesi Wirendu and Bertrand Russell, these philosophers, bring in the food for the mind, that if you want to build a house, analyze, doubt, elucidate, correlate, compare, and then you know the kind of house that you want to build. Or even a car, you may need to think through what model, what make. That may require philosophizing, if not simply theorizing the matter first, in order to think through. So you cannot say philosophy is nothing but in the third world, but splitting hairs, and therefore a luxury, especially in the third world. Oh, it is not splitting hairs. It is as practical as chemistry whenever you go to the laboratory. It is so good. In other words, it is philosophy has everything to do with creativity. So in view of this, philosophy by its very nature nurtures the mind and has a critical function, deliberately resisting the tendency to take things for granted. It questions assumptions, it questions beliefs and habits, breaking with the traditional way of thinking and making us better priests as thinking beings for human well-being. All that. So that is Kwasi we learned for you. A lot is still there. You can still pursue it further. We also looked at the characteristics associated with a creative and innovative thinker. We looked at all these things there. You can see on your screen: idea generation, curiosity, imagination, reasoning by metaphor and analogy, elaboration, complexity, synthesis and combination, abstraction and simplification, tolerance and for ambiguity, divergent thinking, fluency, flexibility, concentration, persistence, entrepreneurship, intrinsic motivation, risk-taking, projection, stroke empathy, okay, originality, storytelling, all these. There's also barriers of creative thinking. Some of them are already considered already as we go on. So it's like we are widening it up. The one is unconstructive attitude. That is the tendency to center only the negative aspect of a situation acts as a barrier for the creative thinking skills. Okay? Statements like it is too difficult or too expensive. We cannot do it because we don't have enough resources or skills. These ones are executive anxiety. When a person is overstressed or burdened with workload, it tends to smother his ability to think creatively. Stress now targets the creative. Okay? In this case, one must try to understand the organization of everyday work, which is important. But that shouldn't stop us from trying new ideas and approaches. That is what you call executive anxiety, which has something to do with stress now. The other number 3 is afraid of failure. When you fear failure, you can't be creative. Number 4 is strictly following rules. You don't want to break anything. You want to be what we may call in leadership management transactionalist. A transactional leader works very hard to maintain the status quo or the situation as it is, but a transformative leader empowers everyone to do something to promote the society, the organization, and eventually all of us become relevant. The other one is too judgmental. When you are too judgmental, judging others, is dressed poorly, even getting a spouse as a young man, when you are too strict, you may not get even a spouse, a young person. When you are too judgmental, overindulgence and over-reliance on logic does not allow our creative ideas to bloom and flourish. Also, being too judgmental excludes imagination. However, creative thinking does not mean the absence of reason. It simply shows us a different approach towards it. The other one is biased assumptions. It is a universal tendency to expect the worst of the unknown. Everyone is usually afraid of the failure and what it means for them. Yeah. Now, the conscious and unconscious assumptions have the propensity of restricting creative thinking skills. For this, one must weigh all the assumptions to make sure they are not cutting off any new ideas. Okay? So we can overcome these barriers. We have noted that the barriers to creative thinking can be okay. These can be imposed on ourselves consciously or unconsciously. They are particularly difficult to recognize, but relatively easy to correct. There is also conformity. Okay, many people feel they have to conform to the patterns established by colleagues or their social circles. We must overcome this. Try thinking will help to overcome this. Try thinking, or not challenging the obvious, analytical thinking, evaluating too quickly. All these should be checked. Otherwise, we will not go far or at all. Okay? Yeah, all this. So again, if you can remember, we also looked at what is creative and innovative. We keep repeating this. And why is creativity is important for a leader? Why should a leader be creative? Yeah, if a leader is not creative, he will fail, he will not go far. Innovative leadership is a philosophy and a technique that combines different leadership styles to influence employees to produce creative ideas, products, or services. It's an approach to organizational development. Innovation leadership can support achievement of the mission or the vision of an organization or group. Yeah. So the most influential innovation leaders have a strong sense of how they are showing up as individuals from the inside out. They are aware of and intentional about the type of energy they bring in a given moment and how that energy affects the people and the process around them. Creative leadership is the ability to create and realize innovative solutions, especially complex or changing situations. The leaders have the dual roles when managing innovation. The other point is, what does an innovative leader look like? These readers believed that the best and most innovative ideas bubbled up from underneath. So another question we want to ask is creativity a leadership skill? I should say yes, creativity is a critical leadership skill, because if we don't harness new ideas, then we will stagnate. In order to achieve creative change, we have to disrupt the status quo. We have to do things differently and break free from business as usual. Now, another question, what are some creative leadership characteristics? Of course, they are there. High standards of personal ethics, big people without pettiness, guts under pressure, resilience in defeat, brilliant brains, not safe products, a capacity for handwork and midnight oil, a charisma, that is charm. That is what a creative leader should be. Okay, he has the guts under pressure. Even under pressure, you can stand. A creative leader has resilience in defeat. You can still rebound back. Even people saying you are finished. But if you are a creative leader, you come back. You come creatively. They may say you are corrupt, you are bad, you are weak, you are old, you are tired. But if you are creative, there's nothing elephant. You still can come back, rebound, and do more. Of course, I don't want to get into what are innovative ideas. I don't want to get there. Or how does creativity lead to success? That one I will not do so, because we can understand that part of being successful is trusting yourself and finding ways to achieve your goals. Okay? How can leaders encourage innovation? There are many ways. Wherever you are, think of a church leader, think of a headmaster, think of so what skill do you need to be innovative? You need all these: creativity, critical thinking, complex problem solving. All the three of these skills are essential to developing and bringing to life a new innovation that solves a real problem and provides meaningful value. Yeah. So coming back here, let us ask ourselves, how do you lead innovation teams? How do you lead innovation teams? One is foster a creative atmosphere. Two, plan for uncertainty. Three, challenge and trust your team. Three, champion the innovative process. Four, demand running and exploration. Six, run a multidisciplinary team. Seven, follow the team insights. Number eight, promote feedback culture. So something else, how do organizations promote innovation? They promote by discovering new markets. Two, diversify is the key. Diversify, open up. Don't just say I sell tomatoes. What about if tomato market fails? You diversify, open up. Diversity is broadness, broaden up. Number three, input from outside is very important. From outside, you can liaise with others. It's called collegiality, meeting other people with the same interests. There, number four is creating free space. Number five is taking up ideas. Number six is promoting motivation. Seven is clear rules regarding the development of ideas. Eight, preparing ideas very well. Very well means think, and think again. Now, another very critical topic that we consider is gender issues in creativity, gender issues and innovation. The question, one question is, what are the examples of include lack of mobility, freedom of marriage in some elements in discriminatory divorce rights. You can see even some religions, women are pressed more. They are divorced at will. Yeah. There's also citizenship. Yes, that's an issue. It's easy to move and say where you belong. Another one is frontline combat. The other one is custody rights. Another one is professional obstacles. The other one is violence. You may talk of professional obstacles. You think of how when a woman teacher marries somebody who is working in another corner of the country. There are those obstacles in transfer. The other one is question. The other question is what gender inequalities still exist today. There are quite a number we can't exhaust, including assaults, discrimination in employment, occupational segregation by gender, paying gap, gender inequality in elementary and middle schools. There's also gender differences in degree choices, gender inequality in graduate school expectations, gender inequality in representation at elite institutions. A lot, we can say more and more. Of course, gender inequality has a profound impact on the lives of children in Eastern and Southern Africa. There is a direct correlation between a child's gender and the possibility of realizing their rights and enjoying their full potential, with the social norms favoring boys over girls in most aspects of life. So gender equality is a fundamental development objective and is essential to enabling women and men to participate equally in society and in the economy. The World Bank's Africa region is dedicated to improving the lives of women and men by supporting government partners with knowledge and finance. The other topic is gender gap in innovation research. Now you may ask, what is an example of gender gap? Because there is gender gap in research and innovation. There is all that. Now let me tell you, among professional occupations, for example, accountants, architects, engineers, they tend to be mostly men, or nurses, social workers, and primary and secondary school teachers tend to be mostly women. Although occupational segregation has declined since the 1980s, most workers remain sex-segregated jobs. Researchers have shown that creativity itself is more strongly associated with stereotypically masculine characteristics, and that a man's work is more likely to be deemed creative. A research has also shown that men's ideas are more often deemed ingenious or inventive and or resourceful than women's. A review of the literature on innovation shows a dichotomous approach. Publications in the recent times have provided several binary definitions of innovation, such as, for example, product or process innovations. However, when it comes to empirical evidence studies, medical, competitive, and product innovations. Conversely, most studies mainly conducted on male innovations, such as technological process and product innovations, while more attention should be placed on other types of innovation, such as incremental and social innovations, that very often appear at the grassroots level of organizations. In theory, the innovation literature is supposed to be gender neutral, as individuals are invisible. In practice, it is a gender-blind literature. When it comes to gender, there is an increasing interest in the role of women in the labor force and how they could change the economic world. In September 2015, the McKinsey Global Institute argued that advancing women's equality could add $28 trillion of additional annual GDP in 2025. that is equivalent to the combined US and China economies today. In other words, research has shown that if we include women more in leadership, as governors, as MPs, as chiefs, the growth of society moves even faster. Finally, yet these are the people we keep off for more, because after all, if you have little money, you may say, let me educate the boy child. This other one will get married. But finally, it is the people who want to put out who actually take the society far. So when it comes to gender, there is an increasing interest in the role of women in the labor force and how they could change the economic world. Now, in September 2015, we have already noted that. So what am I trying to say? Some researchers argue that women would improve a firm's performance. If you get an institution where a woman hands it, research has shown that that institution may even move even faster, so long as a woman is qualified. You don't just put a woman because she's a woman. Just if they are both of them are qualified with a man, if you put a woman, it will move faster. Yeah, a man may start cutting deals, and rather than being motherly and offering motherly concern and build it, may want even to have surplus money to drink in the evening. That is not common among women. So there are several theoretical reasons why increasing the share of women directors might be associated with better performance. In fact, markets themselves are gender diversified. More diverse boards might lead to a better understanding of the marketplace by matching the diversity of potential customers and employees, which increases the firm's ability to penetrate markets. As more skills and qualifications are available in gender diverse boards, more ideas, investments, and opportunities are evaluated. The extensive literature of innovation provides few papers on the link between gender and innovation. The lack of gender perspective entrepreneurship studies is explained to a large extent in relation to the bright vision of individuals, communication around the profile, and the role of innovator is poor. When there is little consideration of individuals, the gender perspective is marginalized and remains an under-considered issue. In general, studies on innovation are conducted on industries and activities that have been for a long time exclusively male-controlled industry. Women have become more involved in the labor force, and many sectors have been led by women, a development which suddenly changed the innovation landscape and created new ways of innovation. That is the World Bank report. In this understanding, women are marginalized and therefore considered as less or non-innovative agents. According to feminist theorists, the predominant patriarchal or rule of men model, patriarchal means rule of men, or matriarchal means rule of women. Predominant patriarchal model has led to a restrictive vision of male and female relations or roles when there is a clear domination relationship. Innovation displays this domination effect and leads to a biased masculine viewpoint. Despite exploring how gender could impact innovation or individuals are invisible. Some studies have already started exploring gender differences in innovation. In economic geography, Brack and Hanson show that men and women have different approaches when they innovate. For instance, women conduct innovations that are largely inspired by local needs, the grassroots needs, the low-level needs, or the majority needs to achieve social ends. So you find women conducting their innovation in the very down and in a case study of 3 French listed companies, one scholar by name Turner shows that gender diversity increases the innovative performance of individuals. Yeah, if no question, I move on because I understand we are about to finish this. We are about to. Now, coming now to creativity and innovation in professional research and academia. Hello? Are you saying something? Hello there? Yeah. Can I continue? Nipe ruhusa niendelee.
Please continue.
Thank you. So running involves challenging, defining, and improving understanding by being made to think hard. That is running. So here in this class, there could be learned people and educated people. Educated to get a certificate. Form 4 you passed. But you may not be learned because you are not thinking. If you are thinking, you are critical, creative, you are learned. You have heard lawyers calling one another learned friends. They don't call themselves educated friends. They want to be higher, learned, not educated. Because you may feel yourself with many degrees, but you are not creative to survive. You are not critical to survive. You are not innovative to. Learned involves challenging, refining, and improving understanding by being made to think very hard, sometimes to understand new concepts and broaden perspectives. Our approaches to thinking need to be creative, imaginative, and lateral. Lateral means incorporating new ways of looking at things, as well as linear, that is using characteristic of the creative thinking process that makes it particularly powerful is that it requires not only knowledge and understanding of the domain being investigated, but also a willingness to question and not be constrained by existing knowledge. Learners should understand how they can question or challenge established knowledge to help them to formulate their own understanding, and imagination can play an important role. One scholar called Sternberg, not Sternberg, actually Johnson Reid, he says, one cannot think creatively unless one has the knowledge with which to think creatively. Creativity represents a balance between knowledge and freeing oneself of that knowledge. For creative thinking to deepen and extend learning, rather than be an enjoyable but superficial activity, it must be grounded in understanding of the content being investigated. It is vital that learners have sufficient understanding of the material with which they are being asked to be creative. Creative practice needs to complement diligent and deliberate practice that develops foundational skills, not be substitute for it. So all that, yeah. Now using questions to trigger creative thinking. So we can also use questions to trigger creative thinking learning. When you are a teacher, you can use questions to make people think. And every teacher has to employ this method. Now, Socrates, the Greek philosopher, popularized through Plato's writings because Socrates did not write, but Plato, a student, wrote about his own teacher, the Socrates. Socrates believed that the best form of teaching was through using skilled, disciplined questioning to deeply explore ideas, resulting in improved understanding. This technique has become known as Socratic questioning and is fundamentally more important teaching and learning approach in all disciplines. A good question from the teacher or student has the power of making student thinking visible and is a natural part of the ongoing feedback loop in classrooms between students and teachers, helping to guide the instructional process. On average, teachers ask between 300 to 400 questions a day. If a teacher carefully plans the type, wording, and delivery of questions that they are going to ask in a lesson, research shows that the quality of learners' thinking and responses will improve greatly. Questions that stimulate responses that require complex mental processing can encourage creativity. What if and why questions tend to stimulate creative and critical thinking, especially if followed by more questions than probe, and encourage the learner to go further. Okay? Encourage the learner to go further. Something else, asking learners to think of their own questions is particularly valuable activity. One scholar by name Gay Craston points out that question is the basis for becoming a successful learner. If children aren't asking questions, they are being spoon-fed. A learner formulating a question can illuminate their current thinking, helping to guide instruction, as well as being a creative activity in its own right. Encouraging learners to ask questions can be develop their curiosity about the subject, okay? Stimulate learners to think hard, consolidate a learner's understanding, enable learners to look at a topic from different perspectives, clarify a goal or plan for their own investigation, inspire them to want to find out the answer. Consider asking your learners questions that have more than one possible answer. When did the Berlin Wall fall, for example? In which year did South Africa start to dismantle the apartheid system? In which year did the Cold War end? Which year saw the dissolution of Soviet Union? Which year saw the end of Soviet Union's occupation of Afghanistan? When did Tim Berners-Lee produce the proposal that ran to the World Wide Web? All that. Now, the other topic as we move to the conclusion is the role of education in enhancing creativity. Education has a role because there are many benefits there. Yes, a good classroom has to be creative, okay? A good classroom, you should be laughing and looking at different ways. You should be sometimes feeling sad or happy because you have brought the imagination and creativity and innovation of the people, the learners, to come up. Yeah, people think what next is going to say because you have brought an atmosphere of creativity, innovation, and imagination. So a good classroom always has elements of creativity, which makes the lesson more interesting and interactive. So even the people talking within themselves, the children talking to one another in an organized way, the teacher asking questions, people presenting in class, an interactive and creative class. It should not be one format. We run it in one way. Okay, this is a COVID era. We are always there in the computer. But it can change if we are in a normal situation. Now, what are the benefits of classroom creativity? You learn with fun. Number 2, freedom of expression. Number 3, emotional development. 4, it enhances thinking capability. Okay? When they are fun meant, the rethinking capability goes up. Number 5, there's reduced stress and anxiety. Number 6, boosts problem-solving skills. 7, improves focus and attention. Number 8, better communicators. Number 9, follow passions. Yes, becomes a bit passionate. Number 11, innovative mindset. It builds innovative mindset. Akili zetu zinakuwa na innovation ndani yetu. The other one is drive lifelong learning. You never forget a classroom that was lively. Even when you are 50 years, 70 years, you will not forget. Can creativity be taught? Let us ask ourselves that question because we are dealing with a school, creativity in educational institutions. Of course, creativity can be learned. It can be learned over a course of time if trained accordingly. The first thing that you can do to build creativity is to vary rules and regulations. Okay? No individual has gained the creative thinking skill by sitting in a lecture. Rather, it will be developed if and only if the student gets a platform to apply his creative thought. To attain creative skills, one has to unlearn what he has learned. Perhaps one can never learn to be creative but you can become creative. Okay? You can become. It is not a question, it's a question of a wrong process. Now, why is creativity important to classroom? We have noted all these things up there. Okay? How do you bring creativity into the classroom? There are many ways. Encourage autonomy, try new methods of teaching in classroom. Yes, come creative every day yourself. Support student intrinsic motivation. Discuss about the misconceptions related to creativity. Anyway, it is the responsibility of a teacher to bring out the creativity in kids, or not just kids. We can talk of runners, or so runners. Yes. So, what else can I say? What are creative activities? Some benefits of creative activities are all these you have noted there: cognitive, emotional development, thinking is cognitive, social development, all that. What are the benefits of creativity? There are very many. It allows you to express yourself. It is multidisciplinary. No one can say I belong to geography, history, economics. No, we are brought together by creativity, to learn creativity, because nobody doesn't need it. If you are a church leader, you need it. If you are a headmaster, you need it. If you are vice chancellor, you need to be creative. Otherwise, these days, if you're not creative, you can't survive. Utakufa njaa. All that. So the other section, I will not also go into details of it. It's the same topic on education. But I want to ask you, who is an intellectual? You can see an intellectual is a person who primarily uses intelligence in either a professional or an individual capacity. You can hear this in the video I sent to you. It is there. Who is an intellectual? There is this one on education. I've sent you. You have if you subscribed, you have listened to it. I sent it to you last week. But one, you can see it. It is there. Okay. Okay. Universal intellectual standards are clarity, accuracy, precision, relevance, depth, logic. An intellectual must have fairness, must be logical, must have breadth, upana wa mambo, depth ya mambo, kimo ya mambo. Relevance, si kuongea mambo ya matope. Precision is somebody who is clear, precise, from the word precise. So it's precision as a characteristic. Accuracy, si kuongea ile unasikia matope ya uwanjani. The gumzo mitaani unatuletea. If you are a graduate, why should you talk without clarity, without accuracy, without checking facts, even going to the internet to check some data, information provided by people that is not very correct? Another question is discuss the relevance of any 5 valuable intellectual traits. One is intellectual humility. An intellectual has to have as a trait intellectual humility, si wa kupiga kifua. Intellectual courage, intellectual empathy. Empathy ni kusikiza, hata kusikiza wengine, si kusema ati ni wewe tu unasikizwa. Intellectual integrity, intellectual perseverance, faith in reason. Reason is very important for an intellectual. As a trait, it's also fair-mindedness. You have to be fair. Okay? The last topic, ethical issues in creativity. So having said all these things we have been talking about, lead there on your own and consult me as you need me. I know many people have not come today, but we have to end the lesson, my friend, so that you also lead for the cut. Am I communicating? I can see now you are even at something. But I have no way. I have to end the lesson today for some time, not forever, for some time, so that we read for cut for a week or two. After I know the exam date, I'll tell you when we do the cut. Let's be thinking on whether it's a product, a piece of film, an article, or company mission. Even the most ethically motivated creative work does not exist to simply be morally superior. There is always an influence and a reaction to consider. The question now becomes less about a project or piece of work on its own, and more importantly, about the thoughts, behaviors, and actions that it triggers. What we have to bear in mind is our footprint, the message, What do we leave in the hands of the people we are talking to? Okay, all that. Okay, so there must be ethical. Whatever you do, you have to do morally. All this. So we need to have moral discernment. Okay, we need moral discernment in local, international, and global context. Openness and dialogue are needed without pretending to solve everything with the national values, nor applying universal principles without considering the specific circumstances and the cultural context. The first would be relatively cultural, the second extreme rigidness that lacks practical wisdom, without canceling our fundamental, canceling our, not out, our fundamental principles, rules and virtues. We need to learn to apply them to innovation. The ethical reflection needs to give rise to conclusions that allow for informed social debate. And last but not least, ethics does not only evaluate, it also impulses us to do the right thing, to do well, and this way we have a proactive role in innovation. Moral motivation leads to moral imagination, which is why great innovative social companies have come about from thinking of how to make the world a better place in finding a solution to world poverty or creating employment for disabled. In short, ethics brings criteria for evaluation. It shows us ways to humanize innovation and increase moral imagination for innovation built around people and serving their needs. That is where we end the lesson, so that you have the preparation for what you call the CAT, and also you prepare. You also go to the web. You know, there is also Kusoma web. There are activities you should do. You should be there and do it. Yes, you should be there and do it. You should be there and do it. Yes, you should be there and do it. Yeah. Any comment, or when is the exam coming? Supposed to be done? Final exam? Let us know. How soon? Who has checked the timetable?
17th of September, maybe.
Oh, iko mbali, eh? So can we first do this? Can we first do the cuts? We do 2 questions. Can we do 2 questions? And when we do 2 questions, but we continue with what we call clarifying and all that, so that those who have been missing classes can still consult me.
When, sir?
No, do you know, Shindo, can we give you, can we give you 2 weeks? You do 2 questions.
Okay.
Hebu tuone next week. Hebu tuone ni lini. Hapana, sitaki kuipeleka mbali hivyo. Hebu nani ana calendar ana nini? Hebu tuangalie tarehe. Or can we just give you to jump 1 week? Just today, next
week will be 11th August.
11. Can we do that? But then, do you want us to meet physically? It is possible to meet physically. I do. Or you want to? What are you doing with the others?
One take our assignments, the other one sit in cuts.
Sitting in cut, munakuja kwa shule?
Yes.
Mnasemaje, mweza kuja tarehe 11 mfanye moja?
Yes. Personally, I can.
Let's see others. Let them talk.
Yes.
Muje mfanye moja. Yes?
Yeah.
Can you tayarisha watu wakuje kwenu? Who will tell people to come on 11? so that we tell them cut on 11. Wakuje saa ngapi? Wangetaka saa ngapi? Si waandike pale kwa forum, iwe mjadala, tujue ni saa ngapi mngefurahia.
8.
Hata mkisema saa 8 tunakuja tu. Akisema saa 8 tunakuja.
I think kati ya saa 10.
Ongea tu.
We have a class from 2 to 5.
So tuseme saa ngapi?
Can you have it on 12 because 11 on 11 we have a class.
At 12 will be much better.
11 from 5 is
on
good.
12.
Usimtaandika pale tu, iwe mjadala pale kwa nini? Kwa WhatsApp group. Kila mtu aseme suggestion yake. Tarehe tumejua ni 11, sio? Si ni mzuri muwe na time ya kusoma ama mnataka kuharakishwa sana? Inataka muwe na time ya kusoma hiyo wiki, tufanye zote, sio hiyo zote ile mtu anasoma na mimi anjitayarishe wiki hiyo. Kama ni yako ni ya Monday, si wote wanaweza kuja? Yawezekana? Hebu nitauliza kwa mtandao.
Send us the
Thursday because we are booked.
Come again?
We prefer it to be on a Thursday because from Monday to Wednesday we are usually fully booked.
Tuipeleke Thursday. Ndio nasema,
Yeah, on a Thursday.
Ndio na suggest muende pale. You suggest, si we have our own mtandao. You know we have our own mtandao. You suggest the day for the cut and then tukubaliane pale. By the time we come here, we have a whole week off. But did you want this note of mine I sent to you? Is it not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. We want it.
Okay, then I'll send them to you. So that is what we wanted to know. So my suggestion is start brainstorming over it, and we see which is which, so that we can
Sir, and the assignment.
Which one? Come again?
So you said one for sitting and the other one.
The other one is in the. Are you going to Kusoma Web? Kusoma Web. Siliwekwa kitambo. Na uatachi hapo.
There is no.
Kusoma Web.
Not, mi pia sijaona.
Kusoma Web has all these things.
For Nairobi, most of them that I seen is a Mombasa. I mean Nairobi campus, main campus.
Watu waliconfirm. Kitu confirmed. Watu waliconfirm wameziona.
We've confirmed, sir. They are not for like.
Yeah, watu waliconfirm.
They are not there.
That is
That's for main campus.
We nitapigwa mkisema hiyo.
Yeah.
For you one what?
103 for main campus, Nairobi. It has even that quotation for Nairobi campus.
So you are supposed to.
As in the assignments which are there are categorized like which class, as in the lecturer. So there isn't anyone.
I'm there.
Yes.
In fact, I'm checking as we are talking. Because what I know, unless we put it in the other one for UC 103 Zico. Just check. I also check. Sina hii mnaiona wapi? Hii mnakuja? Si mnakuja kusoma? Mwaionaje? Na hii mnaitwa wapi?
We are from Kusoma, I can't see it.
Mkola akaitoa labda. Mimi niliziweka. Utaangalia hata hiyo. Ingine hii ni 112. Yeah, but there are even videos for you to listen there.
We've not seen any. Those of us that have registered for UCU 103.
Oh, for you it is 103.
Yeah, we are in the old system 103, not 112.
Oh, so how many are in 103? About 3 people.
I'm also in 103.
About 3 people. You know, we can
No,
send
sir, we are
them
more than
I'm also in
7
103.
people.
11 people. But did
Seven-
you
seven
get the
to-
materials I sent you?
We didn't
Yes.
see any. Those that are there for Nairobi main campus, and they
Yeah,
even
but
have
they are
the
also past
lecturer's
papers.
name indicated.
Allow tukubaliane.
Yeah, Pastor.
Si kuna past papers hapo. Hata hii nawatumia kuna past papers. Hello there.
Yeah.
Hello.
Mwisho hapo wa notes, mnanisikiza? Hapo
Yes.
mwisho kuna past papers, sawa? Najua pale nimeziweka, si hapa. Ni labda niliweka 111. Hii haikuwa imewekwa labda. But let me say this. What you do, hakikisha hizo past paper pale mwisho utafute swali hapo ufanye. Particularly the question that says, why study critical and creative thinking? What is the importance of this subject? So that you summarize key points in the subject. Tunapatana. Why this topic is good, obstacles are good, they help me in this. You have a chance to look at the key issues, and those notes have those past papers. Hata hizi zingine natuma. Sasa ni hii ilikuwa imekataa kuja. Hii sasa imekuja. Nawatumia sasa hivi. Hata ukiangalia mtandao utaiona sasa hivi. Hii ya creativity hii ya creativity nakwambia, critical and creative tofauti ni kidogo sana. Naituma sasa, naituma sasa hivi, nakutuma kwenu sasa hivi inakuja.
Sir, if possible, you share a link, maybe if it is possible to share a link.
Which one now? Are you in this 112? Tumesomea hapo. Hii nimetuma.
Yeah, 103.
Hii nimetuma tayari, angalia uone. No, 103 please. 103 unaikumbuka vizuri kweli? 103 mnayo pia, tafadhali. Mnayo, mmesahau. Hata ukitaka nitume tena naituma. Hapo chini page 68 kuna past papers. At least the first question. Normally the first question is normally making you summarize why study this subject. It is a very good one. It makes you study this subject, summarize the whole subject. So you can go there, my friend. Let me also resend it to you. Even for the ones I've sent, you know, I've already sent notes now, right now. Creative, I'm looking for critical.
Mr. Julius.
Sema.
Just a slight questions. Kama mimi, this is like my only second class. I joined the school while you guys are still on track. So will I do the exam, or I just have to wait for the next?
Are you registered? Are you registered?
Yes, I am registered.
Then do the exam. Why should you fear? Why ni mtu wa kuogopa kweli?
Nikuuliza tu.
Wana msikwe mwoga. Pambana.
Pambana na hali sio.
Zamani mpaka unjikute umemaliza. Hakuna watu wa kuoga hapa, tunakubali watu waoga hapa.
Sawa.
Watu waoga sio hiyo class. Si tumesema uwe creative. Can you be critical and creative when you are current? Go to the go through them again.
When
you go through the material and questions that we are putting there, it will be very good for you. Mi natafuta hizo not critical, lakini I send critical.
So the group I'll be okay.
Yeah, I'm sending both all sets of notes nimetuma jamani. Zangu zizo zangu nimetuma zote.
Sawa.
Nimetuma zote, nimetuma zote, hata natuma sasa tukiongea. For how are critical. All of you nendeni pale mwisho wa notes. Si kuna questions, kuna question papers hapo nyuma. Attempt at least swali moja kama assignment. Na hii kile tufanye kati tarehe 11 ama mataka 12. Ni nyinyi tutasema, nitakuja mimi. Hata mkisema 12, bora isipite tarehe, isipike 12, hivyo hata mkisema 8, bora isipite 11.
On 12.
Hapana, hatuendi 12.
We prefer on 12.
Because on 11th sir, we've got a class from 2 to.
Andika pale uconvince wale wengine, usikie siku, waambie tumepropose hii siku. Mimi nitapropose, upinge nyinyi, muende pale mpinge wale mnapinga, kwa sababu hatuwezi kaa vile bila kumaliza hiyo, sababu ya kuchelewa pia tuachelewa. Tuweza ulizwa umefanya gani na tukujikuta tuko na shinda. Tuna wakubwa wetu pia, si tuna wakubwa na kuna sheria pia, sio? So is everybody hearing me?
Yes.
That nobody should say you don't have assignment question. I know I put the questions there. Mi najua niliziweka. I put it to the web. I don't know whether it's 111 or 103 or 112. I have to recheck later. Nijue niliziweka wapi. Maswali mingi sana nilisummarize. What time? Suggest time for cut.